Well, Broncos country, our Broncos, man, we are 9-5. We clinched our first winning season since 2015, and we are just one win away from that playoff berth that we've all been salivating and dreaming about for several years now. It seems like forever since we played any kind of meaningful football. And if you ain't excited, man, I don't know what else to tell you because I am fired up. Let's talk about the game on Sunday against the Colts. Go over some PFF grades. We'll talk about some players that played really well, those that might have struggled, and then we'll look forward to this huge game against the division rival Los Angeles Chargers in LA. But LA is kind of our home. We know about that. So before we get into that, guys, if it's your first time on the channel, if you're a big Broncos fan, if you just love Denver sports as a whole, smash that subscribe button. It'll really help me out. I'm almost at my goal, or at least the first goal of 500 subscribers. I appreciate it. Let's build this community. Let's have fun together. And if you've already subscribed, thank you. Tell a friend, have the friend tell a friend. Just let everybody know that Marquee Sports is where it's at when it comes to unbiased, unfiltered, and unedited Broncos news. Let's get it, baby. All right, all right. So, guys, the Denver Broncos, they got their ninth win in dominant fashion, even though it didn't really feel dominating against the Indianapolis Colts. Very weird game. Seems like the Broncos continuously find ways to win games. And on the score sheet, it looks like they dominate games. But in reality, there's a lot of struggles. There's a lot of things to be concerned about. But you know what? Let me tell you guys something. That's a good thing. It's a good thing for this team, and we'll get into why that is. Because we're not even playing close to our best football, and yet we're still finding ways to win games and also win games that we're supposed to win handedly, which you love. And this is not anything that a Broncos team from the last 9 years would have done. So let's get into the PFF grades first and foremost. The best offensive players, man, shout out to Nate Atkins. I think he's quietly just been a really solid player. Doesn't catch a lot of balls. He's not like he's heavily involved in the offense from a standpoint of production, but he does a lot of the dirty work, man. He really does play the hybrid tight end fullback role. He's always getting his hands nasty, and whenever his number is called upon, he seems to make plays. He had a great touchdown yesterday, a huge touchdown, and a nice little nifty spin move, man. So shout out to him with an 85.9 grade. And also special shout out to Mike McGlinchey. This guy has actually been stacking up really good games back to back to back. He's been playing very, very good overall. Ben Powers and Quinn Miners are also on the list. And Matt Pert even made it on the list. I mean, will you look at that? 4 out of the 5 best offensive players from PFF were offensive linemen. Now, I'm not surprised by that at all because our O line is very good, which is why our inability to run the ball is extremely concerning. But it also gives me a little bit of hope because I hear a lot of people in the media talking about, oh, the Broncos, they can't just fix something. You can't just become a team that runs the football well, when you haven't been doing it for, 13, 14 weeks. But I would have to disagree because if the O-line has been blocking really well, especially from a run blocking standpoint, and the holes are there, you just need to find the right guy. And we have other guys on this roster that we haven't tried out yet. We'll get into that on a different video, though. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. You look at the best defensive players. I mean, how the hell could you not, guys? The MVP of the Broncos season, especially on the defense, outside linebacker Nick Casabonito. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable season that he's having. He is entering superstar, elite level of play. And just another week back to back now. This time with a fumble 6, technically, even though it was, in my eyes, looked like a pick 6. Again, Nick Bonito, 92.2. He's doing everything. He's been amazing against the run. He's obviously a beast rushing the passer. And he might even be, one of the best cover guys that we have because he's reading plays and he's making plays all day. Nick Bonito, salute to you, man. And I've been trying to tell you all about Brandon Jones. We've been talking about him a lot on this channel. He's having a better season this year. He's been more impactful for the Denver Broncos defense this season than Justin Simmons has at any part of his tenure. Now, that sounds like a Justin Simmons hater. I'm absolutely not that. I love Justin. I loved what he brought to this team. But Brandon Jones is different, man. He's kind of the hybrid between what Justin Simmons would bring and then what, we would have, a couple other guys in the safety position bring from a physicality standpoint. And I love it. I love Brandon Jones's game. He's a beast when it comes to coverage. He's really, really good against the run as well. So kudos to him, man. He's been putting together a Pro Bowl worthy for sure type of a season. And look at this. Would you guys believe it? Look, so yeah, on the offensive side, you had 4 out of the 5 highest raters graded players on the offensive line. And if you look at the defense, 4 out of the 5 highest rated are in the secondary. Chris Abrams drain, he looked phenomenal. He really did look good. I'm glad that PFF caught that as well. He was super solid. He had 6 targets against him. He only had 1 catch, 2 PBUs. He was locked down. And what I liked about him is the times that he was tested, especially on the deep balls, he defended the play, but he didn't cause a defensive pass interference, which is extremely easy to do given the situation that a lot of these young players are in, right? When that panic kind of starts to settle in. Great game by him. PJ Locke was an absolute beast per usual. A huge hit to cause a fumble that, continued swaying that game. Um, Massive. And then what more can you say? Right, we ain't surprised anymore about Pat Surtain. The guy is just locked down. We're gonna need him this week, hopefully healthy, and we're gonna need him to shut down Lad McConkey, really make it difficult for these Chargers. But shout out to them. Now on the offensive side of the ball, not really many surprises here. I do think Devon Vele struggled when I watched him playing. I felt like he struggled with separation. He technically had a drop, even though it wasn't the best throw by Bo. But he just wasn't really getting open. I think he struggled a lot. Troy Franklin struggled a lot. Little Jordan Humphrey always struggles, so that's not really a surprise. And Court, aside from that late touchdown, had a terrible day as well. The offensive as a whole just struggled. And so it's not surprising to see these numbers, but it's kind of a nice thing to see that, four, our 4 top receivers, except for my boy Marvin Mims, can struggle and have a really bad game. And yet this team can still find a way to win. And not only win, we won by 18 points. But we are definitely going to need to have better days, not just for the Charger game, but for the rest of the opponents, the final stretch of the season. These receivers need to step up. I think a lot of them have been surprisingly very solid for us. And we need them to continue on the upward trajectory. They had a blip. It's all good. It is what it is. But they struggled. And Javonte Williams, man, he's just not seeing things right now. I went and watched the All 22 today, specifically with him and just the run game. He's not seeing it. He's lacking explosiveness. You can see the difference. Even Estime's got a lot more quickness. Estime's, on the couple carries that he made a couple of guys miss in the backfield. Javante, if it's not there, he just kind of puts his head down and runs forward. He's been struggling. It's been tough. And not to add to here, the 6th worst player on offense was running back Julian McLaughlin with 53.9. So definitely a lot of struggles there. And if you notice a trend here, guys, the really good players, they all seem to happen on one part of the line. Like we said here, 4 out of the 5 highest were on the O line. 4 out of the 5 highest rated on defense were in the secondary. Well, 4 out of the 5 worst offensive were on the from wide receiver position. 2 of those were also from running backs. And then when you get to the worst defensive line part of the players, you got a couple of defensive linemen on there. Jordan Jackson struggled. Jaquan McMillan, I'm actually surprised by that. I think he's always they PFF sometimes just be funny with some of the rankings, but I thought Jaquan McMillan played super well. I don't know what it is about PFF and Zach Allen, but they always rate the guy low, always, and he's always a stud. Um, they had Damari Mathis ranked low. Surprised about that. I am going to go back in and look at some of the secondary film. I'm going to have a video probably tomorrow coming out on both Mathis and Chris Abrams drain because we finally were able to get them to play a lot of snaps. So I'll get more on there. And they had Cody Barton struggling a little bit as well. And then look at that on the special team side. Marvin Mims, huge game. Will Lutz did his thing. All that doesn't really matter as much. That goes to show, guys, this team right now, it seems like they're in a very unique transitional phase, in my opinion, which is obviously very much needed, right? When you've had so many years of bad football and bad play and an inability to really find ways to win games, we're figuring out how to do so, and we're doing it in not even the prettiest fashion. Um, and so, you're going to have these hiccups. The most important thing, what's been really nice about this team is their resiliency. They haven't allowed for poor play, poor run game, or just like bad moments of offensive football dictate what the outcome of the game is going to be. So it's always nice. I always say it's really nice to win games, and still be able to look back on it and, remain humble, remain hungry to be better, to improve, right? Because that's how you can consistently become better. It's always easier to be better when you're coming off of a win, when it's not ultimately affecting the result of the game. And I do believe that there's still a lot of room for growth with this team. I don't know how you can't think that. Uh, Unbelievably young team, very, very young. In fact, my brother sent me something today on Twitter. I wanted to pull it up and share it with you guys, that I thought was, you know, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And it was from Trevor Judge on Twitter. So shout out to you, Trevor, for having this, whoever you are. But look at this. Bo Nix, 24 years old. Estimate 21. Mims, 22. Franklin, 21. Look at all that. Quinn Miners, 26. The oldest guy on this entire list that you're seeing is Zach Allen at 27 years old. Everyone else, they're not even close to what would be considered their primes. And these guys, like, Bo Nix, potential rookie of the year, estimate, obviously, like to see more. Marvin Mims, really just starting to break out. Quinn Miners, all pro level talent. Zach Allen, all pro level talent. These two guys, arguably one of the best pass rushing duo, especially from a standpoint of just how complete they are, right? This guy hasn't even gotten an opportunity yet. Jonah Ellis has shown a lot of wonderful things. Pat Surtain is not even in his prime, and he's the best corner in the league. Riley Moss, absolute stud. I mean, look at this, guys. So much talent, so young. You've got to love it. And so, with the talent, right? With with the talent comes youth, and with the youth is going to come a lot of inconsistencies. And so that's why when somebody says, can this team flip it around? Can this team all of a sudden start to run the ball better? And can they improve? 100%, right? One of the things that plagued us early in the season was we turned the ball over a lot. We would always lose the turnover differential. Now we've been winning in the turnover department. When we do that, we end up winning the game. Um, we used to be a very heavily penalized team. Now we're finding out ways to reduce those. Third downs used to be a huge crutch for us. The red zone, we were terrible. And now we're really solid on third downs and we're unbelievably efficient, one of the best when it comes to red zone. So there's a lot of those little baby steps that we're taking. And we have all the tools and all the resources available to be able to get better at running the football. I just think there has to be that come to Jesus moment where we're like, you know what? We just got to try a different runner. Or we need to, resort back to running as much as we can out of the pistol. But I think it's small changes that we can make that would allow for this run game to at least be average, league average. That's all we need. We're not going to become this elite running team, but we can become a team that is competent. That when you need to have a drive at the end of the game to take off a lot of clock or to just end it and take the last snap, the run game is huge. I ask you guys, Broncos country, do yourselves a favor if you haven't seen it already. Go watch the last drive from the Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Eagles game this last Sunday. The Eagles got the ball with about 10 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and they did not give the ball back to the Steelers. One of the most impressive game clinching, game sealing drives I've ever seen. It was like 22 plays, 88 yards. They didn't score a touchdown or a field goal. They just went victory formation. It was unbelievable. And that will be one of those examples, right? You're not going to expect a 10-minute drive to close the game out, but that's what an unbelievable, like a very, very good running game can do for you, right? Just absolutely guts a team, right? Dispense justice on that. And that's what I want, right? I'm not expecting for us to become the Philadelphia Eagles overnight, but I want to be able to, you know what, at the end of the game, if there's 5 minutes left, you're not going to get the ball back because we're just going to run it down your throat. Even when we're running, we're still going to be able to pound the rock. And we've got big body physical runners in Estimate and Javonte Williams. We just, for whatever reason, can't seem to get it going. I'm at the point where I'm almost sick of talking about it, but it's so important to talk about, and I kind of can't help myself. But I'm excited for this game. I'll have a full breakdown and prediction video tomorrow. I'm also going to hope to put out a video for the film review tomorrow as well, so I'll probably double up on it. But really looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think about this team, and what do you think the result of this Thursday night football game against the Los Angeles Chargers is going to be? I'm feeling good about it, man. I have a lot of reasons to, but stay tuned for the next video, and we'll discuss why. Other than that, guys, hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. If you're sick like I am, I hope y'all feel better. Spend time with those you love the most. And until next time, go Broncos. Peace out.